Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today we are going to be using the washi tape and the die from the Flowers for the Soul suite from Pinkfresh Studio. Now, this is a beautiful stamp set. I love the sentiments, but I just want the flowers. So we're going to be using the washi, and I wanted to do this as simply as I could. So what actually brought about this card is we will also be using the shadow box frame. I absolutely love that shadow box frame. So I am doing a class for Firefly Farm on December 6th. It is an add-on to her 12 Days of Craftmas box. And what that is just 12 gifts. It goes December 1st through December 12th, and you can use those gifts as little presents for yourself or as a gift for someone else. It just kind of helps with shopping and gets things out of the way. But I will be doing a Pinkfresh class for her, and in that class I am using the shadow box die from Pinkfresh Studio. And that was the first time I had used it, and I am in love with it. I am obsessed with it. And I wanted to do a quick and simple card here using that shadow box die. So that's what we are going to do. So we've got our washi tape. I've got one die on here. And because this washi is kind of slick, I just want to make sure that I get that die taped down before we run it through the machine. So of course I could have stamped and stenciled my images here, but I was trying to find a quick and easy way to make this card just because there is other prep to it and it can get a little time consuming. So let's just get our pieces out of there and put our images to the side. So now we've got our shadow box dies. You need to go ahead and cut 2 of each. You get 2 dies in that set. And we need 2 of each. So let's go ahead and get these folded. So it's really simple. And I think I'm going to have an unhealthy obsession with this die because I absolutely love the card that I am making for Firefly Farm using this set. So we just want to score all of our lines and get our box shape started. And we're just folding that back. You can see the die cut it this way, and we've got the indentations. We're just going to get all of those folded over. And so now that we're all folded, let's bring in our liquid glue. And you can see there is one side that is a little bit narrower than the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that narrower side, and that's where we will add our glue all the way down on that whole side. Then we can fold that over and then fold that other piece. And we're just going to make sure that that adheres. We can fold it back and forth just to get a nice closed box. We want to make sure that that glue sets up. So now we can do the other. And we don't want to use too terribly much glue because we don't want it to seep through. But we need enough to hold it. We need enough to adhere. So fold that over, and then we will fold that edge over and repeat that process. And then we can do the same with our other 2 pieces. You can see that there is a narrower edge and a wider edge. We want to put that glue on the narrower edge. And we'll just do the same thing. Fold that over. Create that box shape. Just keep folding that over, and it actually adheres and dries pretty quickly. Then I can do my other one. and fold and bend. We're just kind of folding that over. And if you do get glue, just take your adhesive eraser and just wipe that off. So now we can build our box. So we are going to take one of our pieces with the little flaps, and I like to add my pieces so my seams match up. So I've got a long piece and a smaller piece. We're going to add a little bit of glue on the inside edge and then a little bit of glue on that flap. And what we're doing here is we're just going to put that flap in there, and then on your longer piece, we are going to put that inside the smaller piece. And we can just hold that for a minute. Then we'll look at our pieces again and figure out where our seams are. I want all my seams on the same side, which I'll use as my back side. So we're going to put more glue on the inside of that smaller one, a little bit of glue on that flap. That flap goes inside your longer piece, and then you put the longer piece inside the shorter piece, and that's giving us our corner. So we'll add our glue to the inside, a little bit on the flap, put the flap inside the longer one. Make sure that the longer one goes in that smaller piece and then hold. We will also do that to our next corner. Get some glue in there. Also on the flap. Just like that, and then hold. I love these boxes. Oh my gosh. I don't know why it took me so long to use it. I absolutely love it, and it is so sturdy. So now I want to do just a little bit of selective foiling. So we've got all of our flowers, and I want to do a vase to go with those flowers. So I am bringing in my Keepsake of the Heart press plates, dies, and it also comes with stencils and a stamp set, but we are not using those today. We are just using the die and the hot foil plate. So I've got my Glimmer warming up, and I went ahead and I cut 2 vases. I cut those out of Spellbinders. This is beeswax and this is mint. And I used those colors because I thought they went really well with my flowers. So we're going to do selective foiling. And what that means is we're not going to do the whole image. We are just going to pick and choose areas that we want to foil. So I've got some matte gold foil here, and I love doing this because you can create more images. You can get so much more use out of your hot foil plates and dies. So I know I don't want this flower. I just want the leafy images there. So I'm just looking at how I should place my vase. Let's get our foil on that image. And then we can place our vase right on that. Now I can come from the other side and I can kind of look at it and see exactly where those images are going to be. Let's place that on our machine and turn on that timer. That timer has gone off. We can pull this off and run that through our die cut machine. So let's look at our vase. And that's perfect. All that did was give us a little more character to our vase, so it's not plain. And I can see that I did get a little bit of overfoiling on there. I am just going to take a little eraser and just wipe that right off, and nobody will ever know. So let's go ahead and do our other vase. And for this one, I know that I want to use the other leaves over here. So I'm just going to kind of tuck that under this leaf because I don't want that image on my vase. So I've just got that tucked under there. I will add my foil. I can look at the back and kind of see if I want to move that a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm just feeling for the side of that vase with my finger. I think that's good. Let's get that warmed up. My timer has gone off, so we can run this one through. And just a reminder, make sure that you always put the green shim closest to your plate because that is heat resistant. And let's see what we got. And that is perfect, almost. We've got a little bit of overfoiling down here. Let's take our eraser and get that off. And that came off really well. Nobody will ever know the difference. And now we have custom little vases here. So I've got a background for my shadow box, and I am using these stitched diamonds cover plate. I love this plate. It gives so much dimension, and that is just beautiful. I thought it would be like a wallpaper back there. So let's go ahead and let's add that to our box. And I just want to look at my box and make sure that I have those seams on the back. And all we need to do here is just put some glue all the way around that shadow box. Make sure that is nice and centered. And that is perfect. We can start decorating. So I know I want to use my vases, but let's figure out which flowers. This one is too big because it wouldn't rest in there very well. Granted, you could turn it a little bit, but if you want your stems the correct orientation, it's too big. So we'll put this one aside. I know I want this little one, and I want the red flowers. I just love their washi tape, Pinkfresh washi tape, because it has that gold gilding on it. It is so pretty, and the colors are just so vibrant. So I will do my yellow flower and the group of dark pink ones. Let's put everything else away. And let's use just a little bit of tape here to hold these from the back. I know that I want that leaf to kind of hang over the front of that vase a little bit. And that's perfect. That is so pretty. I love adding foiling to different images. So let's take our big bouquet here, kind of figure out where we want that. We can look at that. We can figure out where these are going to go inside of our shadow box. I think that'll be good. So I've got foam strips behind our images, but before we put those down, let's just kind of try to fluff it up a little bit and curl those leaves for a little bit more dimension. And then we can add this. I think that looks pretty straight. I won't really know until I edit the video whether or not I got it straight, but I'm trying. So now we can kind of fluff up this flower also. I think that's good right there. Let's get that down. And then for my sentiment, we've got, this was included in the keepsake of the heart. I went ahead and I gold hot foiled on black. Here's to filling life with beauty and joy. I'm going to add some foam strips behind that, and that's perfect. So then to kind of finish off the whole thing, I really like the white on white on white. I received this nested beaded frames from Pinkfresh's Create and Connect that was in August, I believe. And I am going to use this on top of my frame, but you can use anything. I also found this in my stash that would work great. This is Lawn Fawn Lacy Rectangles Stackables. And this one would also fit on there perfect. So you can use anything you have in your stash. And I'm saying that just because this one is not available yet. This was what they called an essential die, which means that they probably will release it, but I'm not going to know when. So let's add some foam strips behind that piece. So I've got my foam strips behind there, but I'm not going to completely remove the backing and then try to get it straight. What I'm going to do here is I do this with a lot of my frame type pieces that I'm putting down. I am just going to peel back all four corners and make sure that that release paper sticks out so I can grab it, and then I can flip that over. I can look at it. So now I am just going to push down on my corners. Then I can pull those release papers out, and I know that that is centered perfectly. Then we can add a few more decorations. I've got a little corner piece I want to put there, and then another flower piece down here. So this one I am going to glue directly to the frame, but at the same time, let's do it this way. We'll put a little bit on the corner, but at the same time, I need to make sure that it does not go past the bottom because I want this to sit up. And for this piece, I will add some foam strips. And now we can bring in our card base. So I am using a top folding A2 card base. We're going to flip this over and adhere that. But because my cover plate die does have the holes in it, I don't want my glue to seep through. So I'm just going to very carefully add glue to those solid areas. Then I will just add my card base right to the back of that and put a little pressure on that. We can also flip that over and add pressure from the front. So now I'm just going to add some glitter drops, and these are the gold glitter drops. And that card is done. I absolutely love this. I love the white on white on white. It stands up, so it's actually like a picture frame. You can do so much with this shadow box die. I just love that. And then you still have your card on the inside. It stands up. But if white on white on white isn't your thing, you can also add a darker frame instead of a white frame. And I love both of these. I don't know which one is my favorite, actually. I'm kind of leaning toward the white, but every time I look at that pink, I love it. It is so pretty. And then on the back, I just added an extra piece of the washi tape die cuts along with my stamp. And those are so cute. I love these. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Please give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment. Everything I used today will be listed and linked in the description below, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.